Arguably the best set of games within the Call of Duty franchise come from the Black Ops series. Some consider Black Ops 1 and 2 the best games in the long-running franchise. The most recent Black Ops game, Cold War, came out almost 4 years ago and it's been forgotten about already. While Cold War does not eclipse the first two games, it does deserve recognition for a few things. It actually is one of the most unique Call of Duties out there. Cold War features the most unique campaign ever created, and the combo of the 80s era and Cold War always makes for one hell of a theme, and it's one of the few themes in the shooter genre that has not been overdone. And honestly, I really did enjoy the multiplayer. As an OG Call of Duty fan, it was nice to play a much simpler style mixed in with old school multiplayer shooter again. Those 80s Cold War vibes mixed in well with maps, operators, guns, and just the overall gameplay. There were some interesting game modes added to the playlist in this game, and it's the one game where I actually was able to enjoy modern day zombies, and I think it's because it gave off vibes of old school zombies, but really added some new and interesting elements to it. So in today's video, I want to look back at Black Ops Cold War and talk about why it's a game that I think is not appreciated enough. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War released back in 2020. The game was developed by Treyarch and Raven Software. The game is a direct sequel to the original Black Ops game. The game takes place 13 years after the original, so the time period in this one is set in the early to mid 1980s. The story is focused on the US's pursuit of a Soviet spy named Perseus. Perseus is trying to weaken the US and shift the balance of power towards the Soviet Union. I'm bringing up the campaign first because it is the best part of this game. It makes this game stand out because this campaign is unlike any other in the entire franchise. Sure, Cold War is an intense theatrical experience like any game in the series, and you'll come across some classic characters like Alex Mason, Frank Woods, and Jason Hudson, and then you'll work for Russell Adler, who is now a fan favorite in the series. The series is known for non-stop gunfights and Hollywood action sequences, but in this game, it slows down often. That's because you're not a soldier running around large battlefields. You are a CIA operative going on missions that make you feel like a spy or some sort of secret agent. This campaign is more than just run and gun. You need to collect evidence and analyze it for clues. There's a few side missions that you could choose to complete, but to do these missions you must collect all the evidence, decipher codes, and solve puzzles. Call of Duty campaigns never had this kind of interactivity before. There are two specific side missions that you can unlock that will allow you to take control of Mason as he and Woods go on these missions to take out specific targets that are connected to Perseus. Those two missions give off nostalgic vibes from the earlier Black Ops games. So, what else is different and unique in this game? Well, for starters, the main protagonist you play as is Bell. Everyone will play as Bell, but each character can be slightly different. You are stuck with the name Bell, but you can customize the rest of your character. You could choose to be male or female, and there's also like 15 different physiological profiles you could choose from. Those will slightly affect your gameplay by giving you a bonus. Here's a few examples. Choosing Paranoid will increase your aim down sight speed, Violent Tendencies will increase your bullet damage, Lone Wolf will allow you to sprint longer, and Professional will allow you to have full movement speed while aiming down sight. Your character will be silent throughout the game, however, you will be able to choose various dialogue options that will change the way missions play out. The game features different endings based on the decisions made by the player throughout the story, and it's very similar to the campaign in Black Ops 2 in this regard. Heck, the game even allows you to have different save slots, which basically allows you the opportunity to try out different decisions. That's a good idea for replayability. There's a total of 16 missions in the campaign, and you will visit multiple locations across the globe. You'll visit the CIA headquarters in Virginia, you'll be in Vietnam, East Berlin, Ukraine, the KGB headquarters in Moscow, Turkey, and other locations across the Soviet Union. In between missions, you will be able to walk around your CIA warehouse. There you will be able to take a look at the evidence you find and solve puzzles. You can also chat with the other members in your group. Desperate Measures is the 9th level in the story, and it is by far the best mission in the game. Adler enlists the help of Dmitry Belikov, a KGB agent who now helps the CIA. You start the mission as Belikov, and you'll sneak around the HQ completing objectives. You'll attend a meeting in which you'll sit right next to President Gorbachev, the president of the Soviet Union. You'll sit right across from two young but familiar faces, Lev Kravchenko and Imran Zakayev. You know, just a couple of adversaries from the Black Ops and Modern Warfare series. You will also need to sneak around looking for evidence and acquire a bunker key. There are multiple ways to acquire the key. Reprogram a key card, poison or snitch on Charkov, one of the officers that are at the HQ, and lastly, you could persuade a prisoner. There's an optional objective which requires you to kill a CIA operative who turned into a mole for the KGB. The second half of the mission gets crazy. You play as Bell. As you and Adler sneak in, with Belikov's help, you're able to steal some uniforms and sneak around for a bit, and the objective is to obtain intel on sleeper agents. Sneaking around works for just a little bit, but then it's all out war. But since you have some nice armor on, you'll be able to walk around the KGB HQ taking out everyone. You save Belikov and make your exit. This is the best mission in the game because it gives you a little bit of everything that this game has to offer in the campaign. Half of it is playing the role of a secret agent, and then the other half is your typical balls to the wall Hollywood action that Call of Duty has always been known for in every single game. The ending of this game is also great. As I mentioned before, decisions you make prior to that mission help you decide the outcome. To make a long story short, you learn near the end of the game that Bell used to be Perseus's right-hand man, but the CIA captured you and brainwashed you into becoming a CIA operative in order to help them find Perseus. The group comes clean and tells you the truth in order to find Perseus, who is preparing to launch nukes. So you get to choose from two options. You could tell the truth and provide the location of Perseus, and there you go to this island where you stop the launch. Unfortunately, Perseus escapes, but the game appears to be a good ending where Adler thanks you for your help and everything, and then suddenly he turns around and kills you to tie up all loose ends. Now, the other ending has you lying to Adler and the rest of the group. The lie is to send them to an abandoned town. There you tell the group that, hey, I lied to you guys, and then they will kill you, but the nukes will launch and you get your revenge. But there's a part B to the lie here. You could lie to them, and then you can signal an ambush that starts an attack by Perseus and his men. You get to kill your so-called CIA comrades in sweet revenge. The game ends with you reuniting with Perseus after fatally stabbing Adler. I really wish we had more campaigns like this in Call of Duty. The storylines are usually good, and there's memorable characters, but the gameplay is the typical run and gun through familiar level design from one mission to the next. It was nice to get some stealth gameplay in this one and do some secret agent shit. At least sprinkle in some different gameplay elements and have a few missions with the level design that we saw in the KGB level, where you could literally spend hours trying to complete it multiple ways. The developers of Cold War found the perfect combo of thrilling action-packed sequences and added some slower, more intense moments in both the gameplay and storytelling. The best part of Cold War was the campaign, but that doesn't mean multiplayer and zombies were bad. Does Cold War's multiplayer rank high on the list of CODs? Probably not, but the running theme in this entire game is trying new things, and multiplayer has its fair share of new things as well. The multiplayer content is mixed with new and old game modes and maps. There were some 12v12 game modes added to the mix. The create a class system is pretty much identical to Modern Warfare's system. There were two notable differences. Field upgrades were included in your overall class loadout, and each class had wildcard options. There were a total of 4 different options. Gunfighter, which allowed you to have 8 weapon attachments, Perk Greed, which would allow you to have 2 perks from each type, which could be added for a total of 6 usable perks, Danger Close, double your grenade amount, and Lawbreaker, mix and match any weapon and perk type in any slot. I appreciated this game's map variety because I was all in for the inclusion of old school Black Ops maps, but I also appreciated the new ones. There's winter maps, desert maps, there's a mall map which gives off classic 80 vibes as you're running around. The map is called Pines. Then there is Armada, which has you literally fighting in the middle of the ocean on boats. The map was especially fun to play during the 12v12 modes. Let's talk about some of those modes. Combined Arms allowed you to play on larger teams. There were a few variations of the mode. Assault allows you to play on larger maps with vehicles such as tanks, snowmobiles, and gunboats. Both teams fight for control of one point at a time. Domination is usually what it is, just with larger teams. The most unique mode, however, is Fire Team Dirty Bomb. Up to 40 people can play this mode. It features 10 squads of 4 players taking part in a huge multi-team firefight. The teams must fight each other, collect uranium caches, and locate the dirty bombs scattered throughout the large map. The first team to reach the score limit wins. You could score 3 different ways: eliminate enemy players, deposit the uranium, and detonate the dirty bombs. It did feel like Warzone, but smaller and more focused. VIP Escort and Control were two other game modes that were added that I did enjoy playing as well, and this was around the time that those two modes became staples in the game mode list. Now I'll admit I'm not a huge fan of Warzone, so I can't say much on it, but I know people did enjoy playing on Rebirth Island, and I was a fan of the map as well. It was nice to play on a smaller map. The intensity would ramp up rather quickly since close quarters combat basically started right away once you landed, and I've always said that Battle Royale games should have multiple maps, at least two of them. There should be a large map and then there should be a smaller map. Maybe one of the maps is in a desert or a dense jungle, and then the other one could be in a heavily populated area with a city and some suburbs around it. Battle Royale games should have more variety in map design, and Call of Duty at least attempted to do that here with Rebirth Island. There's two reasons why I think the multiplayer in Call of Duty Cold War is underappreciated. There was a variety of content which included some new ideas, and then the second reason is that the game had a nice old school feel to it. If you're an older COD fan like me, then this is a game that provided that style of COD that you probably enjoyed back in the day. It feels like an old school shooter, and that's why I enjoyed it. Many complained that the game was too nostalgic and archaic. And there were plenty of complaints about the graphics and mechanics, and honestly, I'd rather play through an old school game, boots on the ground type of experience, than play some of the games that we have today where there's an obsession with slide canceling and the crackhead energy that player movement has provided. And I'll finish up with a few notes on zombies. I mostly spent my time playing Die Machine, but I did enjoy this entry in the Zombies universe. Cold War Zombies featured a new storyline called Dark Ether, which expanded upon the original Ether story that concluded back in Black Ops 4. There were some tolerable changes to the mode as well. There weren't any predefined characters this time. You could play as any of the operators for multiplayer. Zombies was connected to multiplayer this time around, so progression was shared between the two core experiences. You could start the match with any weapon. Gunsmith, score streaks, and field upgrades were also added to Zombies. We also saw the return of some classic elements like guns on the wall to purchase, the mystery box, pack-a-punch, and classic perks. There was also a skill upgrade system that would allow you to upgrade weapons perks, ammo mods, and field upgrades with the Ether crystals. The coolest addition to Zombies was the ability to exfil from the match. Getting tired of playing after 20 rounds? Well, don't worry about dying. Challenge yourself by calling in the chopper and surviving just for a few more minutes of chaos, and besides you get more XP and rewards for doing that anyways. I wasn't a big fan of the Outbreak mode, which basically turned zombies into an open world experience like it is today in Modern Warfare 3, but if you wanted a zombies-like Warzone mode, well, you got it in this game. They also went in on creating a story for this mode too, and it was impressive. I don't know every single thing about it, but it's actually pretty entertaining. Well, thanks for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts on Cold War in the comments, and like and subscribe for more if you're new here. Welcome. I hope you check out more content. Also, my content can be found on podcasting platforms. Just Google Analyze This Podcast. I'm also on X and TikTok, X at Analyze This _YT, and TikTok at Analyze This 54 _YT. Thanks again, and take care.